back to the Deck Builders. My name is Woody, and today we are going to be unboxing Storm from Marvel Champions. So the latest hero pack released from Fantasy Flight Games, released last week for us. I've heard some exceptionally good things about Storm. So I've not played her yet, but all I've heard from my friends and other people that have played her is that she is up there in terms of strength with people like Doctor Strange, which is incredible. So without further ado, let's open it up and see what it's all about. So we've opened up the pack for Storm. We've got Storm and her hero aspect cards. And before we get to that though, we've got the paperwork. So we'll have a quick look through here. So we've got the Marvel Champions paperwork, a little bit of spiel about Storm and her hero deck. No new keywords, so we talk about permanent, piercing, and stalwart here. But we've got the weather deck, so we'll talk about the weather deck as we have a look at the weather cards. But they work in a similar way to the sort of Doctor Strange invocation deck, as in they're not part of her deck, and she gets to choose which ones that she plays when she wants to play. On the other side, we've got the poster. Again, I really like the posters that come with this. I think they're really cool for any collection or for any sort of kids or anything like that that want to put them on their wall. I've got every poster that's come out so far, so big fan of keeping those. Definitely don't throw them away. But let's take a look at Storm's hero card. So here we are. We've got Uhura Monroe, or Storm, which she's probably better known to most people. This is her alter ego side, so she's got 3 recovery. She's got a hand size of 6, 10 hit points, and she's got the mutant trait. And we can see her text, Uhura Monroe begins the game with a weather deck. See insert. I feel a storm coming, set up. Choose a support from the weather deck and put it into play. So we're going to have a look at the weather deck after this, but that is her alter ego side. And on the hero side, we've got Storm, 1 thought, 2 attack, 1 defense, X-Men, weather control, action. Swap your weather support in play with a weather support of your choice from the weather deck. Resolve the special ability on your weather support in play. Limit once per round. So nothing too crazy so far. Showing a hand size of 5, 10 hit points. No crazy attack, thought, or defense stat. So let's see what all the fuss is about by looking at the weather deck. So the weather deck contains 4 different cards. So we've got the 4 here: Blizzard, Thunderstorm, Hurricane, and Clear Skies. And let's have a look at what's so good about them. So, Clear Skies is a support permanent. Each character gains Stalwart, special, draw 1 card. So, one thing that the insert does talk about is each character is literally every single character in play. So, both the heroes and the enemies in play as well. So, the enemies will benefit from that as well. So, we've got Clear Skies, Hurricane. Each character gains Retaliate 1. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. So, nothing so far that looks too crazy. Thunderstorm. Each character gets +1 attack. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. So now I see we're getting a bit more intense. If each character is getting +1 attack, and you all of a sudden have got a lot of characters in play, and you want to do something like the Wolverine Colossus Fastball special, or you've got the Cyclops leadership cards that are, when you do an attack, everyone takes each attack deals +1 damage. We can start seeing this really rack up. And the last one is Blizzard. This is the opposite. Each character gets -1 attack. Choose a non-elite minion until the end of the round. Treat that minion's text box as if it were blank, except for traits. So that's the weather deck. Obviously, you're going to start with one of these in play, and then Storm can change it as an action every turn. So I guess you change to Clear Skies, you're going to gain an extra card every turn, which could be quite helpful. Or, you know, if you want your hero or the villain's got is a 1 attack villain, and you can make them a 0 attack villain. Blizzard could be really helpful. You want to deal lots of damage, Thunderstorm's the place to go. Or Hurricane for some threat removal. So that is her weather deck. So that's kept completely separate. Let's have a look at the rest of her cards. So we've got Storm's Crown. Storm gets +1 thwart. So she then goes to a 2 thwart, 2 attack character. Exhaust Storm's Crown. Generate the printed resource on your weather support. So now we're getting somewhere, because 1 free resource every turn. And if I'm right in thinking, there's the 4 different resource cards icons on here. So you're getting whichever resource you want. So if you really need a wild, for example, you can get the wild, which is quite nice. We've then got Storm's Cape. 3 cost. Storm gets +1 defense and gains aerial. Hero response: after you resolve the special ability on your weather support, exhaust Storm's Cape to ready Storm. So she could be doing 2 attack or 2 thwart if you've got Storm's Crown in play, or she'll be coming in with this 1 defense and then using it, doing something to resolve the special. So using her action to resolve the special, which will then ready her up, ready to do something again. So for 3 cost as well, we're looking quite nice, and she gets aerial as well. And then we've got Uhura's Garden. 1 cost support, alter ego action, exhaust her garden to heal 2 damage from your identity. So 1 cost for continual healing 2. Very nice. And then we've got 5 copies of different cards that all do something based on what weather is in play. So let's have a look. So we've got Weather Goddess. So 3 copies of this. 0 cost event, superpower. Hero action: swap your weather support in play with a weather support from the weather deck. Resolve the special ability on your weather support. So with that in play, so that's a 0 cost event, you're doing one of the 4 things on the weather. You can then use Storm's ability to do another one of the 4 things on the weather. So I can see now we're getting a bit of traction here, which is really nice. So 3 copies of Weather Goddess, which is free. And then 1 copy of these, which all do something for one of each of the 4 weather events. So Torrential Rain, 2 cost event. Remove 3 threat from among any schemes in play. If Hurricane is in play, resolve its special ability. So if we're right, Hurricane is. Let's have a quick look. So Hurricane is permanent. Each character gains Retaliate 1. Special: remove 2 threat from a scheme. So you play Torrential Rain. At the same time, you've got Hurricane. All of a sudden, that's 2 cost for 5 threat. From 3 threat from any schemes and an extra 2 threat. So 5 threat in total. So yeah, I like where we're going with this. 2 copies of Lightning Bolt. 3 cost event. Superpower: deal 8 damage to an enemy. If Thunderstorm is in play, resolve its special ability for 3. So same cost as Spider-Man's Swinging Web Kick, for example, which we quite like. And then Thunderstorm is each character gains +1 attack, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So that is 3 cost to basically deal 10 damage to an enemy. Very, very nice. We've got Flash Freeze as our next one. So 1 cost event for a defense superpower. Hero interrupt defense. When the villain attacks you, the villain and each minion engaged with you get -3 attack while attacking you this phase. If Blizzard is in play, resolve its special. And Blizzard says, obviously, everyone gets -1 attack. So now everyone's getting -4 attack. Choose a non-elite minion until the end of the round. Treat that minion's text box as if it were blank. So nice way to get rid of some of those sneaky little events, or those sneaky little text on specific minions that will deal 1 damage to you. If this deals damage, do something. So obviously very, very nice. And then the final one, Blast of Wind. 3 cost event for another hero action. Choose a player, deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. Resolve the special ability of your weather support. So 2 copies of this one, 3 damage to the villain and each minion. Really nice. If you've got especially a lot of minions engaged with one particular player, really, really nice way to get rid of a couple of minions. And then you can do whatever you want with your weather effect as well. So whether that is draw a card or remove 2 threat from a scheme, 2 damage to an enemy, or treat a non-elite minion's text box as if it was blank. So, very nice. I kind of can see the very start of how she's really strong. Obviously, she comes with leadership. So, let's take a look at what her leadership cards are. So, here we've got Storm's leadership deck, minus some allies at the minute. So, we'll talk about the allies first, because we get 4 of them in this deck, which is really nice. So we're starting with number 1, Havoc. So Alex Summers, he is a 4-cost ally, 1 thought with 1 consequential damage, 2 attack with no consequential damage, and then 3 hit points. He's an X-Men, and he's got the Forced Interrupt. When Havoc attacks, discard the top card of the encounter deck. For each boost icon discarded this way, Havoc gets +1 attack and takes +1 consequential damage. So, he's always doing 2. If the encounter deck has nothing, he's going to do 2. Doesn't take any damage. But obviously, he's got the power to get. He's got the ability to get a really strong, powerful attack out. So, obviously, two boost icons is a 4 attack, but he's going to take 2 damage. So, if you soup him up with some of the training that comes in, either with Cyclops or some of the other X-Men cards, he could be a really strong attacker. Right now, I think he's a little bit overcosted and doesn't give as much as he could. Obviously, there is no limit on it though, so if a card has got 4 boost icons, 5 boost icons in the future, he could be potentially doing some really, really strong attacks and will then just auto be defeated. We've got Mirage. So, Havoc, Mirage, and another one, revealed by Fantasy Flight Games. So, 3 cost, 2 thought, 1 attack, both 1 consequential damage, and 2 hit points. She's got Psionic and X-Men as her traits. And in response, after Mirage enters play, choose an enemy whose scheme is less than Mirage's thought. Stun that enemy. Awesome, in my opinion. You have a villain who has only got 1 thought, or 1 scheme even, sorry, and Mirage is stunning it for 3. I think she's going to be a staple in the deck. And one of those, really importantly, it's after Mirage enters play. Not after she enters play from your hand. So things like Make the Call, bringing her back to life, stunning enemies again and again. Really, really nice. We've got Gentle, also revealed by Fantasy Flight Games. So 3 attack, 3 hit, what am I talking about? 3 cost to play, 1 thwart, 3 attack, 3 hit points. And Gentle takes +1 consequential damage after he attacks the villain. So you can attack the villain for 3 and you'll take 2, or you can attack a minion for 3 and only take 1 damage. So probably going to depend on how you want to use him, but I'll probably try and use him for some minion punching, unless I can give him some trainings. And finally, we've got Pixie. So 2 cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack. Interestingly, she takes 2 consequential damage for attacking. She's got Aerial, X-Men, 2 hit points. So as soon as she attacks, she is going to go to the discard pile. But you've got response. After you play Pixie from your hand, add an X-Men ally from your discard pile to your hand. So probably that's what you're using her for, is to bring back some of those more powerful X-Men allies. Either here, people like Forge, which we'll talk about in a bit. But that's what you really want to use her for that response, and probably not for the thought or attack. We've then got 3 copies of Uncanny X-Men. So max 1 team card per player, play under enemy's control. If each of your X-Men allies gets +1 hit point, if each of your characters has the X-Men trait, each of your X-Men allies costs 1 fewer resource to play. You want to get this out as soon as possible if you're running an X-Men team, in my opinion. You are going to have +1 hit point on all of your X-Men allies, and it's going to be cheaper to play. So you're going to be playing people like Mirage for 2, she's got 3 cost, Havoc for 3, Pixie for 1 is going to be really, really strong there, in my opinion. We've then got Leadership Skill, so 1 cost upgrade with 3 leadership counters on 1 per player. When an ally makes a basic thought or a basic attack, remove a leadership counter, +1/+1 for that action. So we've already looked at, Havoc. If you use this in combination with Havoc, Havoc is going to become a 3 attack, taking no consequential damage, unless he discards a card with some boost icons on. So really strong way there to get some extra damage out. To me, my X-Men, play if you've got the X-Men trait, search top 5 cards for an X-Men ally, put it into your hand. Put it into play even, It's a sneak attack, or is it a very similar thing to a sneak attack? So you've got a load of allies in your deck, you get one of those. Obviously this one is if your allies is still in play at the end of the phase, add it to your hand, so you don't want them to die. But a great way to get your searching done, get some allies into your hands. 3 copies of that. Got 2 copies of Effective Leadership, which is the leadership resource. When you spend this card to play an ally, the ally gets +1/+1. Again, we're talking about someone like Havoc, really souping him up. So he's now 3 attack with this one, potentially 4 attack with leadership skill. Really strong way to play him. And we then get one of my favourite cards in the Storm set, in my opinion. Forge. So we get a 2 cost ally, 1 thought, 1 attack, 2 HP. Who's an X-Men. After Forge enters play, search your deck and discard pile for any X-Men or X-Force support and add it to your hand. Like, that's all unbelievable. If you've been forced to discard something that you really want, or you've got something you just need to get out, something like Uncanny X-Men, and you're just like, I just need this and I want to get this as early as possible, let's get it into play. Forge gives you the perfect opportunity to do that. And again, after Forge enters play, not after Forge enters play from your hand. So if you want to make the call on him 3 times in the game to get 3 X-Men or X-Force supports into your hand, why wouldn't you? And then the last 3 here we've seen in the Cyclops deck. The X-Jet, Utopia. I also said the Cyclops deck, and these definitely weren't all in the Cyclops deck. But we have seen them from either Cyclops, Colossus, Shadowcat, or Phoenix before, and Expansion. We get 3 copies of Endurance with some new artwork, so thank you FFG for giving us some new artwork for stuff, not just leaving us with the old stuff. And then the 3 double resources, Energy, Genius, and Strength. So that is the Storm Leadership deck for Marvel Champions. Let's take a look at some of the other cards that now come in her set. So, let's have a look at the other cards. We've got Storm's Obligation, Claustrophobia. You can you have to flip to Alter Ego form, and you cannot change forms. Exhaust Horror Monroe, remove Claustrophobia from the game. So, yeah, that's nasty, but you're probably going to get rid of it in the first turn that it comes up. So, not the worst obligation, but certainly not the best. We've then got Storm's Nemesis set. So, Callisto, who is the leader of the Morlocks. 1 scheme, 3 attack, 5 hit points. Elite Morlock with Quick Strike. When a knife fight treachery is revealed, give Callisto a tough status card. So, there are 2 copies of knife fight. So, it's going to be something not very nice if that comes out to give her a tough, but only 5 hit points, so not the worst thing in the world. Really interesting. I've just watched the X-Men cartoon on Disney Plus where Callisto and Storm have a little fight, so nice to see her there. We've then got Leader of the Morlocks. So this is a 2 threat per player with the Amplify icon. When defeated, the player who defeated the scheme searches the encounter deck discard pile and set aside the area for knife fight. and reveals it. So you defeat that. If Callisto is still in play, Callisto is going to get a tough status card. But super player, so shouldn't be anything too difficult. We've then got Switchblade, which is Callisto's little knife. Attach the minion with the highest printed attack, otherwise it gains Surge. To attack, the attached minion's attacks gains Piercing. So, not very nice. And then we've got 2 copies of Knife Fight. So when revealed, this card gains Surge. When revealed, hero. Choose an enemy with the highest attack and take damage equal to its attack. That is insane. Deal damage to that enemy equal to your attack. Absolutely bonkers. Because it's not a... You don't get the opportunity to split it out amongst your peers or your allies. But it is just a straight up take damage equal to its attack. So, if Callisto is in and she's got her Switchblade, that's 5 damage that you are taking. And there's 2 copies of that. So, that's Storm's Obligation and Nemesis set. Couple of other cards that we get here. So we get a Protection. So these are included in the Storm's Hero Pack content. 3 copies of Hangabay, which is a support protection 1 cost, max 1 per player. After an ally defends against an attack and is not defeated, exhaust Hangabay, ready that ally. Quite nice, but I'm not sure how often your ally is defending against an attack and isn't being defeated unless it is something from a little minion. So, not 100% sold on that one just yet. We'll see if it picks up in the future. And then we've got a Shadow King set. So, Shadow King, 3 scheme, 3 attack, 6 health. Elite Psionic. While a controlled minion is in play, the Shadow King cannot take damage. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard part for a copy of a possessed attachment and reveal it. So let's see what that does. We'll see right after we see the Shadow King side scheme. When defeated, discard 1 copy of Possessed from play. Gives you a acceleration token and then a boost. While you're engaged with a controlled minion, reveal this card. So I really like the fact that Fantasy Flight Games are including these sets in with hero packs as well. I think it's a nice way to mix up, keep it fresh, and not have to release loads of a new hero box or a new villain box to get us some more encounters that we can choose. So we've got a copy of Possessed. So treat attached ally as a controlled minion with a blank text box. The minion's scheme becomes equal to its printed thwart and doesn't take consequential damage. When revealed, attach to the ally with the lowest thwart without Possessed. If you cannot, this card gains Surge. So, yeah, nasty way to lose at least one of your allies, especially if you've got some really strong allies in play. 2 copies of that. And then the last one is Astral Attack. So, Treachery, when revealed, each controlled minion activates against you. If there are no control minions in play, it's gain Surge. And on the boost card, shuffle each Shadow King card from the discard pile in the encounter deck. So that is Storm Hero Pack for Marvel Champions from Fantasy Flight Games. Hopefully in the next couple of days we'll get up some gameplay of Storm and Wolverine working together, given they're both released on the same day. And then hopefully we'll see you then. Thanks for stopping by if you're still around now. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.